This week's NBA Sunday Showcase on ABC. And the ESPN app has James Harden, Russell Westbrook, and the Houston Rockets in Portland to take on Damian Lillard. And the Portland Trailblazers, our coverage tips off with NBA Countdown at 3 p.m. Eastern.
One of the most anticipated matchups of the entire NBA regular season. James fouled, count it, and one. Leonard, Paul George goes to the lane and bats it home as Leonard goes inside and throws it down.
This is a playoff environment. I love the intensity.
Davis, a three-pointer. It's good. Drives, hop step in the paint to Davis for the slam. James drives, layup, count it, and the foul. LeBron James putting on the finishing touches.
It's yours. You deserve it, my friend.
Let me be very, very clear about something. Nobody's a fool here, all right? I know Kawhi Leonard is great. I know Kawhi Leonard is one of the top players on the planet. But I would tell you, when he won his first NBA Finals MVP as the San Antonio Spurs, and then his second NBA Finals MVP last year with the Toronto Raptors, he has never been under the spotlight nor the pressure that LeBron James has been under. And so for me, when I watch Kawhi Leonard with the Los Angeles Clippers, I got to tell you something. Now that you marched into L.A., proclaiming it's your town with a crown dangling from your mirror, putting the world on notice that you were coming for LeBron and the Lakers and everybody else, I got news for you. Let's apply some pressure to Kawhi Leonard and see how he responds. He's the cyborg, right? It's not going to faze him, but let's see whether or not he can handle it the way we asked LeBron James to. That's just my take. Coach Fizdale, back in the mix right now. I'm sorry, Matt Barnes. We got some technical difficulties with David Fizdale. We'll get back to him. What did you think about what I just said?
I like it. I like it. I don't think Kawhi came in thinking all that. I think he's strictly coming in to play basketball, win another championship. But LeBron, no one has faced the pressure LeBron has faced throughout his career, I think. It was a different generation. Obviously, Jordan didn't get that attention. Kobe caught the end of it. But LeBron, from the time he stepped on the basketball court, has had a tremendous amount of pressure on him.
See, I don't mind the pressure that has been applied to LeBron, but I think LeBron and his camp have a very, very valid argument when they highlight how the pressure that is applied to him consistently has helped provide cover for a whole bunch of other folks who want to be perceived as superstars in this game. How do you feel about that notion, and explain why you do?
I agree. I think he's been the scapegoat regardless of what happens. He's been to 8 finals, but he's only won this many. I mean, how many people have taken teams on their back to that many consecutive finals? What he's been able to do, to be able to win a championship in his hometown was huge. So, like I said, no one has been able to, has dealt with the amount of pressure that he has, and he's handled it greatly, but he's also taken a lot of pressure off other guys. But also, another thing I'd like to add, coming to LA is a lot more than just basketball. You know what I mean? And so to add that to his, pressure shield, but it's going to be different for Kawhi now because playoff times are coming around. Is he shakeable? Is he unflappable? We're going to see.
You and your smooth suit, stay right there. I'll be back to you in a second. I might have to buy that suit in a second. Let me get to something else. The Rockets did break a 4-game losing streak by defeating the Minnesota Timberwolves. But their recent struggles have seen them fall to 6th in the Western Conference. Houston will now play 7 of its next 10 games on the road, starting with tomorrow night's matchup with the Los Angeles Lakers. Matt, let me get back to you, Matt Barnes, about the Houston Rockets. How have you felt about what you've seen from them since they went small ball? The first 10 games or so, they looked absolutely phenomenal. Over the last 4 or 5 games, not so much. What's going on?
I came out the gates not necessarily believing in the situation because playing small ball, I know how much it takes out of you. And that team, you have to be balls to the wall every night on both ends of the floor, especially defense because you're so undermanned. So what they're going through right now is trying to catch their legs. And I think it's still undecided what they can do. I think Russell Westbrook is playing amazing. James Harden is kind of taking a little step back, but it's still yet to be seen what they can do coming towards playoffs.
I know I love Russell Westbrook. I know how you feel about somebody considering the assassin that he is, the most volatile competitor that exists in the NBA. We love that. Here's the flip side. He hasn't been out of the first round since Kevin Durant left Oklahoma City. He is getting paid $205+ million himself. We call him a superstar, but we consistently look at James Harden. How much should we be looking at Russell Westbrook when we think about the Houston Rockets and whatever success they aspire to achieve?
Well, the success or failure, he's going to, to me, have as much pressure as James now. Although it's James's team, we all know that Russell is that type of caliber player. He is another superstar, so now it's going to fall on both of them. So it's yet to be seen what they can do. Like I said, I love the way Russ has been playing. He's been attacking the paint. I want to say he's leading the league in points in the paint, playing tremendously. James is taking a little step back. So is that the recipe? Is that what's going on, or is it a bigger play? So I'm not really sure about Houston yet. I'm still unsold. Like I said, they came out the gates on fire. I think they proved everybody wrong, but now they're starting to hit a little lull. So can they come out of it?
You got to hang out with me a little bit more. You'll have more certainty in your voice. I'm telling you that right now. Anyway, let's check out tonight's three-point performance brought to you by Mountain Dew. With 17 three-pointers last night, the Mavericks became the first team to reach 1,000 this season. They also have a chance to make more history tonight. The Mavericks need 9 more threes to set their franchise record for a single season. In Dallas, Luka Doncic and the Mavs host the Nuggets next on ESPN. Luka only turned 21 years old on February 28th. Here's Maria Taylor on what Luka has accomplished in his young NBA career.
Every hero needs a theme.
To Sports Center with Stephen A. Smith. Presented by Mountain Dew.
Welcome back to Sports Center with Stephen A. Smith. Brian Windhorst is right next to me. Adrian Wojnarowski, our ultimate NBA insider. He'll be with us shortly. Brian Windhorst, let's get right back to it. So you've heard what everybody has to say. Just remind our audience of how serious and dire this situation appears to be in the eyes of the NBA right now.
Yeah, I mean, this is the biggest threat the NBA has faced from a health standpoint, maybe ever. Today, just today is an example. They had a conference call with owners. I was talking to people in the league. They don't remember this ever happening. You know, owners meet 3 times a year as scheduled. It's hard to get billionaires on the phone. The fact that they had to do that, just that alone, just that fact alone tells you how out of character and off the grid that this situation is. But I'm going to just say that I know that a lot of people are really upset, and I know there's a lot of people that are panicking and things like that. Let's look to what's happened elsewhere in the world. In China, they shut their CBA, their Chinese Basketball Association, down at the end of January. They have taken 2 months to deal with this crisis. They wanted everybody to remain indoors to quarantine. Their cases have come down, flattened out, life is returning to normal, and they are now calling players back and intending to begin basketball again in the next couple of weeks. This is obviously going to affect a lot of people. It's going to affect a lot of people who have tickets who want to go to games. But ultimately, they're going to take the steps that they were shown, and we're going to end up being okay. We just have to get through it.
Woj, when you hear what Wendy just said, it calls for the potential of a delay in the ending of the season as possibly a worst-case scenario. How receptive is the league to that, in your estimation, considering the fact that there was an owner just weeks ago who talked about how the league should start in December and end after June? What do you make of that, Woj?
Well, you know, Atlanta's president, Steve Koonin, he's talked about that idea for years and brought it up again at the Sloan Conference. There hasn't been support for it, but what you're hearing now and what needs to happen is there's going to have to be a lot of cooperation around the league right now. If games do get lost with how to salvage this season, this is a year where the league's going to lose a lot of money. Going back to Daryl Morey's comments, what that caused the league with their relationship with China, and then now the money that's going to be lost here. And one group that really hasn't been a big part of this conversation that's got a call with the league tomorrow, the league's general managers, their presidents, you know, the people who deal every day with the players, and I think they're going to have to be involved in this. They know more about this league day to day and how it operates and how competitively some changes in the rest of the season might play out. They know that better than their owners do. So there's a lot of people who still have to be a part of this conversation because this is uncharted territory for the league, and there's going to be more difficult decisions that have to be made.
Wendy, we've heard on many, many occasions the commissioner and league officials allude to the partnership that exists between them and the players. How much, if any, input at all will the players have in decisions that are being made? And if not them, whom?
Yeah, I think one of the things that is happening in the league right now is there is a strong feeling of cooperation between the commissioner's office and the players. There is a real, equity that exists there between those two sides. And so I really believe that they'll work together on this. They will rely on their crisis situation and get through it and align. But I think the players, as LeBron showed over the weekend, they weren't really even thinking about this. Matt Barnes was saying earlier today, he went to a birthday party for Draymond Green over the weekend. The word coronavirus was not mentioned one time. Yet here we are just a few days away from having radical changes to the league. So I think the players are going to rely on the leadership of the league, which is why the league's got to spend some time to get it right.
I know this much. I'm relying on you and Woj. Way to bring it, y'all. Really, really appreciate it. In Oklahoma City, Donovan Mitchell, you see him right there, star for the Utah Jazz, getting set to take on the Oklahoma City Thunder tonight. As it currently stands right now, Utah and OKC would meet in the first round of the playoffs. And obviously that brings me to my next guest, Royce Young, covering the Oklahoma City Thunder for us. He joins us right now. You were just at head coach Billy Donovan's pregame news conference. What did he say about the coronavirus and the impact that it's having on his team?
Stephen A., he acknowledged how everybody's pretty nervous about this situation and just the bizarre fact of the scene and how it was set up pregame with reporters backed away 10 feet from a podium. Quinn Snyder, it was the same thing. And if you just look around the arena, Stephen A., and just the way that this is kind of unfolding, it's a weird situation. Steven Adams had to alter his pregame routine. Instead of sitting in the locker room like he normally would, he had to come into a media room, sit down at a podium. The first thing he did is he looked over at the Thunder's PR guy and said, "Has this been wiped down?" And he said it with all sincerity, and he was told, yes, it has been very thoroughly. But, one of the things as you look around this arena is just the inability to really contain this with fans in it. I just talked to a ball boy that was rebounding for Donovan Mitchell and Danilo Gallinari, and I asked him, did they tell you to do anything with the basketballs? Were you supposed to wash your hands or sanitize the ball? And he was like, no, I didn't have to do anything. If you look out in the crowd, you see fans throwing a little soft basketball, one by one, going all around, taking turns, just touching the same ball. You see players sitting off to the side in the same seats that fans will sit in watching film. So you can kind of feel the way that it's going to be difficult to contain this as long as fans are in the arena.
Great insight. Really appreciate it. Royce Young, our reporter, our Thunder reporter, live in Oklahoma City right now. Thank you so much. Tonight at 10:30 on ESPN and the ESPN app, Zion Williamson and the New Orleans Pelicans are in Sacramento to take on the Kings. Both teams are chasing the Grizzlies for the number 8 seed in the Western Conference. ESPN Pelicans reporter Andrew Lopez is with us in Sacramento as we speak. He joins us now. Andrew, you were at the team shoot-around this morning. What were they saying about the possibility of playing in empty arenas due to the coronavirus?
Well, Zion Williamson walked in, kind of looked around and figures, this is how it's going to be now because of the press conferences, and sat down and he said, it's not going to be fun, but he understands why they're doing it. Alvin Gentry tried to have a little bit of fun with it. He marked out 9 or 8 feet on his cell phone before getting up on the podium, but they also understand. Nobody really likes this situation. They understand that the fans are the lifeblood of what they do. Brandon Ingram talked about having to come up with his own energy now because there's not going to be any fans in the arena. So the Pelicans, they understand what's going on right now, but they're not necessarily happy about it.
That's Pelicans reporter Andrew Lopez in Sacramento. Thanks so much, Andrew. The coronavirus is affecting events all over the sports world. For more on that, here's Kevin Nagandi and Sage Steele.
Stephen A., we've been wondering for a few weeks now exactly how the spread of coronavirus would affect the sports world. But today, when the World Health Organization declared that the global coronavirus crisis is a pandemic, that word changed everything.
Yeah, and the biggest story of the day, the NCAA has made an unprecedented move. The men's and women's NCAA basketball tournaments will be played without fans in attendance. NCAA President Mark Emmert said in a statement this afternoon that all championship events will take place with only essential staff and limited family in attendance. While the plan is to keep the first round sites as is, Emmert says they're looking to move the Final Four out of Mercedes-Benz Stadium into a smaller venue in Atlanta. regional sites could also be moved to smaller venues but stay in the same city. Emmert putting out this statement that reads in part, quote, I have made the decision to conduct our upcoming championship events, including the Division I men's and women's basketball tournaments with only essential staff and limited family attendance. While I understand how disappointing this is for all fans of our sports, my decision is based on the current understanding of how COVID-19 is progressing in the United States.
And now, the Big Ten and Big 12 conference tournaments beginning tomorrow also will not have fans in attendance, just essential staff and immediate family. That is it. The Big Ten's announcement came just hours after it said it would allow fans. So much is changing literally by the minute. Also, the Warriors tomorrow night, they will take on the Nets in Chase Arena in San Francisco without fans. The first NBA team to do that, as so much has happened in the upper northwest part of this country. The Mariners, speaking of the Northwest, Seattle Mariners will move all home games out of Seattle through the end of March, and actually the beginning of April. It's the first 7 games of their season that will not be played at home as scheduled. For the record, the number of coronavirus cases in the U.S. has topped 1,000, with the number of deaths at 31.
Live from the Seaport District at Pier 17, brought to you by Chase. Our next NBA Saturday primetime game sees Steph Curry and the Warriors starting a 5-game Eastern Conference road trip against Giannis and the Milwaukee Bucks. Our coverage tips with The Jump at 8 Eastern on ABC and the ESPN app.
I don't think that they have the pieces to actually compete in the Western Conference.
Your best players have got to be better.
That's why the Nuggets get lost in the shuffle.
Why does this team thrive when everybody else counts them out?
Here it goes. Got it. Denver has won.
We have a lot of guys that are hungry and desperate and willing to do whatever it takes to have success.
There has been a lack of respect for what they have achieved.
I work so much to get here. Hopefully I'm going to win a ring one day.
While the Lakers and Clippers steal most of the headlines, don't sleep on the Nuggets in the Western Conference. This success starts with Nikola Jokic, who's one of 2 players averaging 20 points, 10 rebounds, and 5 assists this season, along with Giannis Antetokounmpo. And Jokic has formed quite the dynamic duo with Mr. Jamal Murray, who's averaging nearly 19 points per game. The pair have assisted to each other 218 times this season. That's the most by any pair of teammates in the NBA, just ahead of LeBron and Anthony Davis. By the way, the Nuggets have won 58% of their road games, on pace to be their best win percentage in a season in franchise history. Earlier today, I talked with one of their star players. You heard me mention his name earlier, Jamal Murray. Listen in. Before we get into basketball talk on the court, let's make sure I get your perspective on this. Your thoughts about the coronavirus, everything that you're hearing around the league, and potential fears that this season might be compromised in any way. What are your thoughts about it?
It's very unfortunate. I know if there was no fans, it would be very hard for the players to be playing in that kind of environment. I think just plays change, the road trips are different, home games are different. I think we would just be playing just for the sake of the business, and it's going to be very difficult. It's a tough situation.
Put in perspective for the viewers out there what it would be like, or what you can imagine it being like if you had to play at an arena without the fans in attendance, how that would affect you guys play, if at all in any way.
It would affect us entirely. Like I said, if somebody made a play, made a highlight, it would be just people in the gym celebrating. I think we'd be on the bench saying, D what, defense. It'd just be a whole different environment. So it would be very tough, like I said, and hopefully it doesn't have to come to that, but it's unfortunate.
Let's get into you specifically, because I happen to believe that you're one of the young stars in the game. You can ball. This year, you're up in points, obviously field goal percentage, shooting, free throws, everything. Talk to me about where you feel your game is right now.
I just feel like it gets so much better. Never satisfied. I've played decent up to this part, but I feel like I can do a lot better, and especially with this playoffs coming in, just my usage rate should go up, and run a whole lot of 2-man game, pick a roll, especially with me and Big Fella down there. So it's gonna be a lot of fun just to play out of that.
from the number 2 seed to the number 7th seed. It's like 4 or 5 games that separates all those teams. But your squad, the Denver Nuggets, have been a top 3 seed since mid-December. You haven't budged from that position, which speaks to the level of consistency you guys have enjoyed. To me, that warrants respect. You may not care, but do you guys feel that you have received the respect that you deserve?
Oh, yeah, for sure. From other teams, like I said, they started game plan for us. I got big men, I got swing men on me, I got the 3-4. They never put the point guard on me no more. They started double joker. I feel like teams are starting to pay more attention and really started the game plan for us. So like I said, we're not surprising teams no more. We got a target on our back. And for us to stay that consistency, within the 2-3 seed the whole time, like you said, it speaks a lot of volume to what we can do and our capabilities. So it's going to be a lot of fun, especially this postseason. We got to finish up strong. We got a tough schedule. But I feel like we're built for that.
Very last question. Y'all can win the championship this year?
Yes, sir.
Works for me. Appreciate you, my man. Thanks a lot. Looking forward to watching you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
With the coronavirus concerns rapidly impacting the sports landscape, new reactions around the NBA on the latest steps the league is taking.
Stephen A. Smith is presented by Mountain Dew. Do the do.
Dallas Mavericks against the Denver Nuggets tonight. As you see, hand sanitizers are being handed out to fans in the arena. Not just soap, not just going to the bathroom, hand sanitizer being given out to everybody. It's not a bad idea, actually, not by a long shot. Let's bring in former Memphis Grizzlies and New York Knicks head coach David Fizdale. When you first learned of the virus and the impact that it was having on the NBA, coach, what went through your mind?
Wow, that this is really happening during my lifetime. And just really can't believe that we're at a place now that we have to cancel large sporting events, big money-making sporting events, big money-making concerts, things like that. The thought that those things are now either being played without a crowd or being canceled is pretty overwhelming.
As a coach in the National Basketball Association, do you agree with the league's decision to make sure that they're not having any fans? At least the Golden State Warriors have already made the decision in San Francisco, obviously, that they're not going to have fans at their game because of the health organization and the decisions that they made. What are your thoughts about that?
I do agree with it, Stephen A. And this is why it's bigger than basketball right now. You're talking about a pandemic. You're talking about something that can easily be spread. We see how fast this stuff has ran through other countries. We can't be arrogant enough to think that we're immune to that. We have as many, if not the most, large gatherings than any other country in the world. And so for us to be diligent and cautious, I think, is the right approach. We can't risk our fans' health, and we also cannot risk our players and our staffers' health.
Coach, as an assistant in Miami, you used to coach LeBron James. You're very close with him. We all know this. His original position was he's not playing if it's not going to be in front of the fans. He backtracked on that considerably, obviously, as he's learned more about this situation. As a coach, what would you tell players at this particular moment in time in regards to what's transpiring before us?
Well, one, you want to educate them on how to stay healthy, right? Just the basics, I think, is don't assume that players know how to keep themselves healthy in scenarios like this. That would be the first thing. But the second thing would be, especially if I'm a team contending for the playoffs or contending for home court or any of that, is keeping the mission in mind and how important every game is, regardless of the fact if fans are there watching or not watching. You still have a body of work that you've put together over the course of the season to put you in this position. You can't let a situation like this right now knock you out of your focus, and now all of a sudden you start losing games because of the conditions.
Coach, always appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for being on the show. You take care of yourself. See you soon.
Absolutely, Steve.
Let's transition to 14-year NBA veteran Matt Barnes. You're sitting right here next to me. You've been a part of this league for a very, very long time. How scared are you that ultimately games are going to end up being missed, canceled along those lines?
I think I would prefer the NBA to kind of take a step back and go ahead and cancel games for a week or two and just do as much research as we possibly can. Let's get studies on how many healthy 18 to 35-year-olds have caught this, and if so, what happened? How many children have caught this? I understand all these other leagues that have canceled things. I get it, I respect it, but the NBA is moves the needle. What we do moves the needle. We set culture, we set trends. So I would like to get as much information about this disease as possible and just take a step back. Like I said, I don't think the game is meant to be played without fans. I think the game will suffer. The players are saying that it's not going to be the same. The atmosphere, the energy, if you've ever played, you understand what the arena atmosphere is like. So without fans, I think the play is going to, tremendously suffer. But let's also think about the flu sweeps through every professional locker room every single year. The flu sweeps through my children's school every single year. People get sick, we get our medicines, we get healthy, we hydrate, and we feel better. This, like I said, I just think there's not enough information out there yet for us to. I understand we want to be, ahead of it. We want to be progressive instead of reactive. But let's just take a step back and kind of see where we're at with things and then move forward from there. But I don't think the game is meant to be played without fans.
Hold your thought right there. We've got to transition to Dallas, where our very own Doris Burke is. She'll be on a call for the game tonight between the Denver Nuggets and the Dallas Mavericks. You just spoke to both head coaches today. Can you give me the feel, the vibe of where their head is and what they're going through right now, Doris?
Yeah, and I reached out to a couple of players as well, Stephen A., and basically the response has been, we really don't know what to think. We are trying to, like the rest of the country, educate ourselves in real time. You hear what Matt said. It will be absolutely bizarre to think of an arena without family and friends and obviously the fans. Mike Malone told us earlier today that basically at shoot-around this morning, he looked at his guys and said, look around the arena because there's a distinct possibility this would be the atmosphere within which we are playing. So there's uncertainty, there's education that's ongoing, and sort of a wait-and-see attitude amongst coaches and players, Stephen A.
Let's transition to the game because there is a game that's taking place tonight, Doris. It's between the Denver Nuggets, who are the number 3 seed in the Western Conference, and obviously the Dallas Mavericks. When you look at this matchup right here, which isn't getting the attention it deserves as far as I'm concerned, because both of these teams have been impressive, what chances do you give either of them to come out of the West, seeing what you've seen from them the multitude of times you've watched them this year?
I really enjoy watching both teams. I think they are aesthetically pleasing basketball teams, but I feel like there's more growth and development in the playoffs to happen. I still believe that the teams, the Lakers and the Clippers, are a tier above. And it's interesting talking to the coaches. Nikola Jokic, for a straight month with so many injuries, was carrying this team. He's hit a little bit of a lull here. And when we talked to Rick Carlisle before the game, he said, listen, that guy might be shooting 32%, but he put 2 killers on us in the matchup, so we're going to guard him like we need to guard him. Should be a lot of fun. I saw Luka get hit on that thumb that's been bothering him last night against San Antonio. I'm curious to see how he is handling the basketball tonight, Stephen A.
Doris, always appreciate the great work. Thank you so much. Looking forward to listening to you during the game. You take care.
Thank you.
All right. Coming up, as the legend of Luka continues to grow. I'm sorry, Jamal Murray. I didn't know he was sitting there shooting jump shots. There's a conversation that took place. It was earlier today. And of course, oh no, you didn't. We can't forget about that. Oh no, you didn't. I don't know if you've seen that, Matt Barnes. It's kind of smooth. Check it out. It's coming up next. Right downtown, Big D, Dallas, Texas. A beautiful city, especially during basketball season. Notice I didn't say football season, by the way. And there you see American Airlines Center, the Plaza. Beautiful view right there. They got a hell of a team this year, too. Lots to talk about in regards to these Dallas Mavericks. It's a matchup of 2 of the best young players in the NBA. 21-year-old Luka Doncic have the Mavericks primed for their first playoff appearance in 4 years. Tonight, he will take on Nikola Jokic and the Nuggets. Denver is chasing the Clippers for the number 2 seed out west. Sports Center with Stephen A. starts right now.
Welcome to Sports Center with Stephen A. Smith, presented by Mountain Dew.
The impact of the coronavirus is being felt in the NBA. Today, the Golden State Warriors announced that they will play their home game tomorrow night against the Brooklyn Nets without fans in attendance. This after the San Francisco Health Office prohibited groups of 1,000 or more from assembling. Welcome to Sports Center. I'm Stephen A. Smith. I'm here with yours truly, Brian Windhorst. He's sitting right next to me. Lots of stuff to get into. The league was on the phone all day today. talking to its owners, Commissioner Adam Silver, and of course, the 30 owners or so. What can you tell us about what transpired today?
Yeah, there's really kind of two things going on right now, Stephen A. One is they've got to have immediate planning for how they're going to handle the next few days, because obviously we're seeing all of these fans taken out of arenas. Fans are going to be taken out of NBA arenas very soon, all across the board. If they don't make the decision is going to get made for them. They're aware of that. The second thing is long-term planning. Taking a look at arena schedules, talking with team officials, and seeing what the feasibility is of potentially delaying the season, leaving that open as an option that they research.
Let's bring in our very ultimate insider, Adrian Wojnarowski, NBA insider. Talk to us. You've been working the phones all day. You've been all over this story, Woj. Talk to us about what you've learned. You just tweeted something a few minutes ago.
That's right, Stephen, Brian. The greater consensus right now among NBA teams is to continue playing the season, but without fans in arenas. The league is going to make a decision by Thursday, by tomorrow, on next steps. But there's a push in this league right now to continue the season without fans in the arena. Another consideration on that owner's call with the league today, I'm told, was the idea of taking a hiatus, stepping back from the season, postponing games, potentially canceling regular season games. But right now, there's a greater push, a much greater push, I'm told, with the league in continuing to play games, but do it without fans in the arena. And one thing that I know the league office, certainly teams all want, they don't want lost games, and they want to try to keep these games on television.
I know that you talked about there's a stronger push to just not have fans in there, Woj, but how strong, if you can tell us at all, is the push, at least by some of the owners, to actually postpone or cancel some of these games?
Well, I think it's everyone's preference to keep playing, but I think it's been part of the conversation. They have talked about everything from moving games from one arena in a city to the away arena based on the schedule of a night's games, even looking at games at neutral sites, maybe even in non-NBA cities. But right now, the push is to continue playing games with the current schedule we have in arenas that are going to be empty, following the lead of what the NCAA did with the college basketball tournaments today, which is to play them for the foreseeable future in empty arenas. But the league office, Adam Silver ultimately is going to decide that, I'm told, by tomorrow. They have to get moving in a direction here. And certainly the consensus, again, that I'm told, along with Zach Lowe, is to continue playing the games without fans.
Wendy, let's get back to you here. What do you think ultimately will happen here? Because even though there are no cases of NBA players having contracted the virus, in the same breath, there's got to be obviously a very palpable fear of that. What do you think leads to them ultimately making this decision and just sticking with one decision over the other?
If Woj says that the owner's consensus is to keep playing, he's right. Woj is always right. I'm just going to tell you, I'm looking at what happened in China and I'm looking at what happened in Italy. And in both those cases, they tried to continue those leagues, especially in Italy, without fans in the soccer league, and it just did not work. Mm-hmm. And now today we have a reported case of a Juventus player, one of the most powerful, biggest teams in Italy, coming down with the coronavirus. I think that eventually you're going to see the leagues have to suspend. That's my opinion. Mm-hmm. They're gonna have to suspend play from a just player health standpoint and from a financial standpoint, because one of the things that's going to happen here, that every game you play without fans, it's millions and millions of dollars. And in the playoffs, where ticket revenue is a vital part of the NBA's revenue pie, it's going to be probably between $100 and $200 million lost if they play playoff games without it. And not that revenue would lead here, right, but it's going to be a factor.
Woj, Adam Silver is the commissioner of the National Basketball Association. Do you anticipate him making this call or ultimately putting it to a vote? I know he had conversations with league owners, but is this going to simply come down to the commissioner making a call, or is he going to look for the owners to vote on it? What can you tell us about that?
I think Stephen, somewhere in between that with Adam silver. I don't know that there's a specific vote here, but part of what he wanted to do today was to hear his owners out in a group setting. There's been a lot of one-off conversation certainly recently, but in the end, this is a commissioner's decision, and he's got to make it in partnership, not just with the other owners. They met with the Players Association today, and in that meeting, they told the Players Association their goal was to try to keep, again, playing the games without fans, not having to cancel games. And then, of course, television, arenas, Brian mentioned that, all the other factors. There's a lot of constituents here when you're making this decision, but this is ultimately at the feet of the commissioner.
Woj and Wendy, they'll be with us throughout the show. Don't go anywhere. Here's more reaction from around the NBA today, starting with Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Obviously, this is the NBA, and we're paid to play games. Now having fans is going to be tough, because everybody that play basketball, they play for the fans. They play for, energy, the atmosphere. But at the end of the day, we got to think about, our health and safety, not just the players, the fans.
Because at the end of the day, professional basketball players, so we got to play in an empty arena. It wouldn't be fun, but, it'd be competitive.
You see people dying, more and more people are, getting affected by the virus, so, that's real for me. People are losing their lives, so that's when it became real for me.
Let's bring in former Memphis Grizzlies head coach, as well as the New York Knicks former head coach, David Fizdale. Coach, you first learned of the impact the coronavirus was having on the NBA. What were your thoughts, sir?
I'm not hearing you, Stephen A.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
You might have to come back to me. I'm not hearing anything.
All right, we'll get back to you. We're having some technical difficulties. We'll definitely get back to y'all in a few minutes. Coming up, we'll get you set for the Nuggets and Mavs on ESPN. Dorisburg standing by with reaction from Dallas over the coronavirus concerns and inside the must-see matchups in tonight's showdown. Plus, the NBA MVP race heats up. Has LeBron taken the lead over Giannis to win the award? We'll dissect the deciding factors. Next, don't touch that dial. More to come.